Hello and welcome to hobby vlog number 285. Now I'll start the vlog by thanking everyone that voted last week in the Reaper Challenge, to new people and old. I love seeing your names coming up, and honestly your votes really are inspiring and encouraging me and have helped me through a really difficult couple of years. Which I'm really coming out of now. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. And to everyone that just watches and comments and doesn't vote, thank you as well, obviously. So if you don't know what I'm talking about with regard to the Reaper Challenge, on the screen now is a list of 10 miniatures, and in the description, in the show more, you'll also be able to see that list of miniatures with links through to the Reaper website. Now I had a huge backlog of Reaper miniatures a few years back and decided to ask for your help in working my way through them. So every week I put that list on the screen and ask you to pick 2 of those miniatures, pop a comment below with the names of those miniatures in it. You can talk about other things as well, but include that in your comment. And the ones with the most votes will get painted the following vlog, in the next vlog. Now, each time you vote, you get an entry into a prize draw. So that means if you pick 2 names, you get 2 votes. And every 4 weeks, every 4 vlogs, I will draw a name randomly and give you the opportunity to pick one of the miniatures that was a winner in the previous 4 weeks, and that will get sent to you brand new from the Reaper website. So that's how it works. So thank you to everyone that's voted, thank you to everyone that votes every week, and if you haven't yet voted, what are you waiting for? Just pop that comment down below and you'll be part of the community that's really supporting me and hopefully inspiring and encouraging other people to vote as well. So last week we had a tie. So the first one, the one that won was the, I've got it down here, the Flesh Golem. So the Flesh Golem got the most votes, so thank you very much. And then we had a 3-way tie between Gehenna, the Vampire, Dar Dimplefoot, the Halfling Thief, and Rivani, the Iconic Psychic. So I decided, you know what, I'm just going to paint them all, because we're getting right to the end now. We've got 33 miniatures left only, 33 miniatures. So it's getting quite tough to randomise them. So soon I might just start cycling through and not randomising. Not that it'll make any difference to you. And last week I also painted up 4 miniatures. I'll pop pictures of those on the screen now. And if you're interested in how I got the results I did, then you can go over to An Average Painter tomorrow. That'll be Monday. And there's a painting video, a very short painting video sped up, showing how I painted each miniature. So anyway, I will wrap this intro up now. It goes always long because of the Reaper Challenge. Getting close to the end of it. I've got 10 more weeks at this rate, roughly. So yeah, do get involved if you can. And if you don't want to, that's fair enough. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll see you again at the end. Right, so let's have a look and see what I've got to paint this week. And thank you to everyone that voted. And if you haven't already voted this week, I'm going to harp on about it again. Do get your comment below with which miniature you want to paint, so that yeah, I can have an awesome selection of miniatures next week as well. So this is 4 miniatures this time. First of all, we've got Damon, the Male Thief. We've got Eileen Gontasavas. We have Ladoni, Female Rogue, and Evil Sorcerer. So it looks like we've got a little bit of assembly to do here, a little bit of cleanup as well. There's a bit of flash on all these, and I will also give this one a good close look. But the first thing that I'm going to do is give them a good scrub in some hot soapy water. I do this to remove any mould release agent that might still be on there. If you don't do this, particularly on these plastic miniatures, but on all of them to be honest, if you don't do this, some people say, why do you do that? I've never had to do it, which is crazy, because whenever I look to paint a miniature, if I've forgotten to wash it or haven't washed it, scrubbed it enough, then the primer just sloughs off. It just kind of like does its it moves to one side. It doesn't stick. It doesn't stay, and it becomes really frustrating and annoying to paint. So that's the reason why I do this scrubbing process, this cleaning process. It doesn't take long. Just a little bit of washing up liquid or dish soap, some hot water, and an old toothbrush. That's all you need. So I'm going to get that done, and I will bring you back when they're all assembled and primed and ready to be painted. Right, we're ready for the big reveal of what Lego I'm going to do next. Oh yes, I am doing the Shuttle carrier aircraft. Now I wasn't going to do this, but it's the one I want to do. I was going to do a smaller one because obviously I want to get back to the Millennium Falcon, but this is the one I want to do, so I'm going to do it. So my spare part, hopefully for the Falcon, well, I'll have it very soon, but then that'll have to wait until I finish this now. But I've heard really good things about this build. I think it looks really, really cool. I'm very excited to have it on display. So yeah, I'm going to open this up, have a look at it, get out the first bag, check out the instructions, and get stuck in, and I will, as always, bring you along for all of the process, every step of the way, of how much fun I have building this, and yeah, excited. Well, I've managed to open the box, which wasn't very difficult. It actually had 6 little strips of sellotape and opens up quite nicely. It's a bit easier than the other boxes I've had. And I've opened up and split out bag number 1, as you can see. I think there are about 16 or 17 bags. One cool thing, which is different from the others, is the instructions and the stickers came in this nice little envelope. So I've taken out the set number 1, which is for the space shuttle, and I'm going to stash these back in the box out of the way so they don't get damaged, and I'll keep them in the little envelope, and that'll keep them nice and safe, which is really cool. So I'm going to get stuck in, see how far I can get on this build in 10 minutes, which is my limit. That's how much I limit myself daily to doing my Lego, so that I can spread it out. And yeah, let's see how far we can get and if we can build this. One thing to point out about these instructions, as quite a few of them, they're really interesting to read. So it gives you like some background on the actual thing that's being built, and then how they designed it. So it's really cool. Very good little instruction thing. But that's where I'm about to start. Well, something is about to happen, which has not happened for a very long time. So I'm going to see Rosie in a couple of weeks, and my friend is coming to stay and look after the puppies, as he usually does. And I gave him a choice of games, and he chose SBG. So we are going to play some battle companies. And we rolled our dices, and came up with Stand Your Ground. We're going to be playing the original rules. I don't have the new rules, and I don't really care anyway. So we're going to be playing Stand Your Ground. So we have this hill here, which was made, me and Rosie made that. You can tell from the colourful flowers. And just a bunch of trees. I might put some more scatter terrain on it as well, but that's what I've done for now. He's picked the goblins, Mariah. So that's going to be fun, and I've not yet decided what I'm going to do. But he arrives a week today. Actually, it is today as you're watching this, and a week today as I'm filming this. So yeah, so you can expect there hopefully to be some filming going on. And we might try and record the game. I'm not sure. We'll see how we go. See how he feels. See if he wants to or not. But I'm looking forward to playing anyway. It's going to be fun. It was nice to tidy this room, and that was one of the reasons for doing it, was so that we had space on the gaming table to actually game. Well, that was only a few minutes left on bag 1, so now I'm on to bag 2. As you can see, I've opened that, separated that out, and I'm going to do a little bit more now. I want to do more than 4 minutes. So I'll do a little bit more now, yeah, this is going fast and easy. Gotta love these kits. Well, I've made some more good progress on this. My next step must be filling, particularly around, carefully lift this, around the front nacelle. That will focus, I'm not sure, but there's lots of gaps around that front nacelle, so I'm going to do some fillering on that. And goodness me, but some of this is fiddly. Look at that little black thing that I've glued in on there. That took some time, and it spoiled 3 or 4 times. It was very close to not being done. So yeah, so I'm up to, I'm doing really well. I'm up to this stage now. You can see basically that's the stage I'm at, and I have yeah, I have to glue this onto the front, but I think I'm going to do my fillering before I glue that. So yeah, so I might actually bring you along for the fillering, see whether I get it done, see if I want to run the camera on that one, but I might do. But yeah, I'm back to really enjoying this build, having got that fuselage closed. Everything else is now going pretty nicely. Here we are. So these are now assembled and primed, as you can see. Pretty easy to put together, no major problems, no major hassles, and they're really cool dynamic poses. So yeah, I'm looking forward to painting these. So I'm going to move these over now to my painting bench, and hopefully I'll get them all done this week. I've not been very well, wasn't very well after I published the vlog yesterday. Spent most of the day in bed, and I'm still not all that well today. I think it's just a cold, basically just feeling low energy, not feeling dreadful, but yeah, I'm not going to be able to get as much done as I wanted to. But yeah, we'll crack on, and hopefully these will be done, and hopefully I feel all better very soon. I'm resting and being very sensible, I promise. Right, so now I'm going to come along and I'm going to do some fillering. So this is the stuff that I use, which is absolutely awesome. Really, really like it. And it's not been touched for such a long time, but it's still liquid inside, which is just awesome. So I'm probably not going to be able to film very much of this, but I did just want to show how I apply this stuff. So it's separated a little bit, so I'm going to give it a little bit of a stir. But you don't need to do too much. Amazing that it's still as liquid as it is. And I think this is going to be difficult to do on camera, like I say. But basically what I do is I have a toothpick that I come along, and I use a toothpick. I meant to do this before putting the prop on, for that very reason. So anyway, yeah, so I come along with a toothpick and kind of guide it into place with the toothpick, as you can see, like this. And yes, I do have my goggles on. I think you can see, yes you can see. And then when this is done, I will use a sanding stick to sand it down, and then I will reprime. So it's a shame that there's a gap. It's kind of nice to have the opportunity to show you this technique. So I'm going to get the rest of this on. I'm going to fill in the rest of these big gaps that you can see, particularly around the nose area. And when it's dried, I'll probably bring you back and show you some of the tidying up that I do. So yeah, there we are. It's pretty cool. Doesn't take too long, but you do need to take your time and focus. So yeah, I'll turn the camera off and carry on with this now. I forgot just how quickly it goes off, and all I have done actually is just use my finger to smooth it a little bit, and just come along very, very gently with your finger and smooth it down. So it's literally been a couple of minutes since my last clip, and I'm not doing something which is going to be winning any prizes here, but I think that is going to be sufficient. So yeah, so that's how I do it. So it goes off very, very quickly. It's absolutely superb. A brilliant purchase. I highly recommend it. Probably one of the best model building hobby purchases I've made is that, because yeah, it's cool. So now that's gone off, I'm going to be able to glue the cockpit canopy in place, and you can see that sits in really nicely. I will make use of my contactor clear, which is also awesome. And yeah, and then we really are cracking on. Next up we're doing is going to be the wings, which is pretty cool. So yeah, really making some good progress. So I'm painting up part of the wings that you need to paint, like where it goes over the top of the fuselage. So I'm painting that at the moment. So yeah, so I'm going to crack on. I'll bring you along, show you what it looks like once I've done a little bit more. But yeah, it really is coming on now. Oh, and if you're not sure what this is that I'm actually supporting the plane on, you can see here, I'm not supported, I'm not sponsored. It is abmahobby.co.uk. So I bought quite a few of these things. So this is one of them, which is really cool. It's just a little stand for an aeroplane. And if I reach across, sorry for that, you can see also for like my glues, I have several of these little paint holders. They're really, really cheap. Admiralhobby.co.uk, really, really good bits of kit. This stops you from knocking your glue over. I've got one over on my painting bench, which I put my paint pots in, so the washes and the contrast paints and stuff, so you can't knock those over as well. So they're really cool. So yeah, Admiral Hobbies, go and check them out. Admiralhobby.co.uk. Well, I mentioned this in the video where I was tidying up all of my model railway stuff, I think, and this is a box. Clearly, as you can see, it is a box, what they call box file, that's what they call it. And what I'm going to be doing, if you have a look here, this is a Canal Wharf box file layout from scalescenes.com. They're absolutely brilliant. So this kit is designed to fit into a standard UK full-scap box file. That's one of these, with the 7mm wall, which is what that is. And what you end up building is something that looks a little bit like this. So I don't know, I have to look if I've got the barge. Or not, but I'm going to do the rest of it. So what you do is you print out a load of templates, and as you can see, I printed all these out, and then you glue. Oh, PP, you okay? Peter's got a cough. Oh dear. Then you glue. Some of them are just print only. Some of them you wrap and glue around the edge. And some of them you glue onto light card, medium card and heavy card. So I have boxes, which also you'll have seen probably, I think, when I was doing the tidying. I have boxes, I bought all the card that I was going to need to do for this and loads more besides, and I have it all printed out. So this is going to be a really fun project. I'm going to build it. So you can see it's got very, very good instructions, really, really nice instructions. It's got suggestions of how you might be able to do it as a switching layout. So you could do a pivot point. I think also you could potentially put points in there. My original plan was maybe to have this as actually in the main layout, but I'm not sure if I'll do that or not. I might just do it as little kind of transportable switching layout. And if I do that, then I might end up either doing like a section of track which I can manually move, or I might do. I think I was going to go for this one because I have points, so I might do the pivoting kind of connection. So yeah, so the first thing to do is show you what I bought. So I have bought the line. This was all from a long time ago. You can see how long ago it is by this completely disintegrated rubber band, which was around this track, which is just, that's how long this has been in the box. Anyway, so I have the line side kit for the goods yard crane, which is that. I have some curves, I have some short straights, and I have some long straights. And I also have 2 Y turnouts, SLE97 Electro Frog turnouts. So I think that, if we look here, that goes there. So I don't know why I've got 2. I think maybe it's so that we can connect these 2 as well. So, oh, you can't really see. It's that connection. So I need one of them, and I think that potentially I can also, that might help me to connect it to the main layout. So that's what I've bought. Those are the parts I've bought. And what we've got here is all of the printout stuff. So like I say, you've got print only. You've got some medium card, it says on the bottom. Some of them actually are both. So it will like say, split this into, yeah, so this one's got multiple things on it. So you've got, here is, actually no, these are all structure B. These are all structure B. It's just in the wrong place. So yeah, so some of them have multiple things, so you have to kind of cut it apart before you glue it down, because it's got part of it's going to be on card and part of it's going to be not on card. So what I've done now there is I've looked to separate these out, these bits of paper out, so that they're nicely organised. So I'll get that done, and then we'll start to look at what we need to glue onto card, because I think that's probably the first thing I'm going to do. And I think the first thing that I'm going to focus on making, if we follow the instructions, is going to be the wharf foundation. So I think that is not one of the structures. So what I'll do is I'll pull out all of the bits of paper which are to do with the wharf, and then we'll make a start. First thing is cutting up this box, but I think I'll probably make a start on gluing and then come back to cutting the box. Anyway, there we are. Pretty cool. Pretty happy about this. Pretty excited. So this LK35 yard crane, goods yard crane even, I'm going to assemble this. So it's got 2 sprues and a single sheet of instructions. First of all, you assemble the base. So we've got this brick surround and 2 bases here. And then you insert the main pivot, which is somewhere. Don't see it at the moment. And then once you've done that, where's the main pivot? Is it the metal? Because there's some metal. No, they're truss rods. I think the main pivot might be in there. I'm not sure. We'll have a look at that. And then what you do is you assemble the crane. Crane mechanisms can be made to rotate if great care is taken not to allow solvent to enter bearings. Mount finished assembly onto main pivot base. So this is going to be fun. And then you fit the winding rope, then you add the truss rods. You form the end around a small pin. Goodness me, this is going to be detailed. And then you fit the winding rope and hook. Fix the thread with cyanoacrylate and wind around drum. So that's super glue if you don't know. So it's going to be fiddly, it's going to be fun, it's going to be a challenge, and I'm going to try and assemble it. So I'm not going to film the process of building this because I think it could be a little bit sweary and frustrating. But I am going to, there's the pivot, it's right there, I couldn't see it for looking. But I am going to bring you along regularly through the build process to show you how it's going. So the first thing I'm going to do is snip off these 3 bits. Going to glue this around the rim here and then put that on top. And what I'll probably do is prime this assembly, this sub-assembly here. So I'll probably paint it in the sub-assemblies, to be honest. So the first thing is going to be to make the base. So I'm just going to work on that. I will be making use of plastic glue for this, I think. So I have that right here in my little pot. So I think I've got enough in there. I need to order some more actually, I think. But yeah, so we've got some extra thin. So I'll get cracking on with this, and if I have any challenges or learn anything, I'll let you know. But otherwise, I'll bring you back when I've done the first bit of the assembly, and we'll have a look and see what it looks like. Well, that was incredibly stupid. I was painting away, and there was some dog hairs on the base, and so I lifted it up to blow the dog hairs off and snap the top off. And I've just spent 10 minutes with super glue and super glue activator. And I cannot get it to stick back on. So I'm going to give up for now. Maybe tomorrow morning I'll have another go. But what an idiot. I don't know if I caught it on camera. I was filming. So, but yeah, that might be curtains to my attempts to do a banner, which is a shame, unless I do one that's been cut down. But that's not really as cool, is it? Because, you know, you're not going to be, I suppose you could be fighting to recover your banner that's been damaged. I don't know, anyway, I'll have a think. But right now I'm just going to stop because that's annoyed me. I have not made very much progress with this. So I've been trying it with the extra thin glue, I've been trying it with super glue. I don't actually know how it attaches, which way up it goes. I'm thinking that it goes around the outside, around this little lip here, if you can see. But I don't know, and I can't even get it to. I mean, I must have spent a good 20-25 minutes with different types of glue, just attempting to get that to bind, and it just doesn't. And I can't get a clamp in. I tried to get a clamp in. I can't get a clamp in to hold it, and I probably wouldn't want to anyway because they're plastic clamps, so they glue to. So even the plastic glue or the super glue will both bind to them. So I don't know what to do now. So I've given up for a while. I'm going to sleep on it and come back to it tomorrow and see whether I can get that to work. And if not, then I'll think again. I'll work something out. I'm not going to give up. We're definitely going to do this. But I might end up doing it without the base or without that style of base. I might just cut out some thin blue foam and do a and sculpt in the bricks myself or something like that. I'm not going to give up. Don't worry. But that's just silly difficult. The instructions are not clear really. So if I can zoom in, you'll see that there's a band at the bottom which has no bricks on. But if you have a look at the picture, there is no band at the bottom with no bricks on. So am I supposed to have trimmed that off, which would be a real pain in the backside to try and trim off, or what? I mean, this is the thing. This is why it's difficult, and it doesn't indicate exactly whether you put it onto whether you go around this rim, whether you put it on top of the rim. So I can't even. One idea I had was I could start it off, for example, like this, and get that to be really, do the plastic glue, get that to be really well done, and then do a little bit more, you know, take hours over it, you know, doing 5 minutes at a time. But I don't even know if it's going to meet. So I might do that, and I might find that I've started off in the wrong place. So then I thought, well, this way almost certainly is going to work. Yeah, it's going to go onto the lip. But then will this fit? So anyway, I'm going to sleep on it. I've got some plans, as I say. I'm not giving up. I've not run out of ideas, but I think it's going to be a bit of a fiddly one, and that's why I'm not filming it, because that was a good half an hour, I think, of failing and failing. Yeah, well, I should be used to it, shouldn't I? So I've got Hillel there putting up a blind. I've taken it out of the games room because I'm not going to need them in there when I do the final. When I do the layout in there, and one of the things I'm really concerned about is the sun sets. It gets very intense sunlight through those windows, so I'm getting him to put a blind up over that window so that it protects the layout, Rosie's layout. So that's pretty cool. Pretty excited to get that done. Bit of a bonus progress. So I've got my little helper here. This is where she sits, and this is actually working. Let me just try and sort this out. So the idea that I had at the end is working. So I'm just sat here, and what I'm doing is putting a little. I've just started this. I'm going to put my goggles on actually as well, so I can see properly what I'm doing. But yeah, just doing this very, very steadily and slowly is what's going to work, I think. So, and using the plastic glue is the correct thing to do. So I got it started. I just had to hold it for 5 minutes or so, maybe less than that even. And now I'm going to do the next bit. It's boring, but that's all it is. That's all there is to it. So taking it a bit easy, being patient, I think, is going to be the key. So I'm going to work my way around, and at this rate it's going to take me at least today, if not more than today. And then when that is all done, then I'll be able to glue the top on. You know, it's fine. This is part of the hobby, and one of the reasons why I love this hobby actually is that it does teach you patience. And this is a lesson that I learned. I was trying to rush it, wasn't I? And more haste, less speed. So I'm going to sit here now for a little while and wait for this to go off, and then once it's gone off, enough for it to hold, I'll leave it again another hour, and then I'll come and do the next bit and hold it for a few minutes, and then leave it for an hour, and just through the day do a little bit, and eventually it will be joined. And what I've realised is that if it doesn't actually meet, then what I can do is put a little bit of plastic across to secure it, and then use filler and then score that filler, and once it's painted you won't even be able to notice that it didn't work fine. So it doesn't even really matter if it's been done right or not, because I can resolve it, I can sort it. So yeah, onwards. Well, I've made some great progress on this, mainly because I was a klutz and I managed to spill my glue. So I made use of it. I've got to stop now, but I made use of as much of the spilt as I could, and I've managed to get the wings and the tailplane on, and yeah, really pleased with how that's coming on. If we turn this over, hopefully I haven't damaged anything because I've been standing it upside down. This is going to be a bit fiddly because of the way the undercarriage is. But yeah, so we've also got some details on the top that have been done. So yeah, really cracking on now, and pretty pleased with how it's looking after the pain of closing it up. This has been really, really nice. But now I've got some tissue. I'm going to, the kitchen roll, I'm going to mop up that glue. Unfortunately, I do have another pot. What happened was I wasn't looking, and I pulled this out, and I've absolutely no idea. I think this must have maybe just been slightly screwed on, because I managed to, as I was pulling out the glue stick, I managed to lift the whole thing out of this, which I just praised just in the last clip. Can't save you from yourself if you're an idiot. That's what we're learning. But yes, I managed to pull this whole thing out and throw it across the room. So that was a bit annoying. So I'm going to get that mopped up now, and I'll leave all this stuff that's been done now to set. Pretty pleased with how it's looking, and I'm not far off. I'm on page 11. I have a few more pages to go. Yeah, a few more pages to go. So yeah, hopefully I'll be getting to painting this very soon. Well, that worked really well, and a lot quicker than I expected. So I've managed to get that all wrapped round. It's not perfectly circular, but it's going to be fine. And what I'm now going to do is glue the top on. So here's the top, and that is going to go and sit on top of it like that. And then I will get the pivot and glue that in place, which is here. And then I'll bring it back, and that'll can be primed and painted then, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I'm making some good progress, and just goes to show that it was patience that was required. That was all, just patience. Alright, so I've got this assembled. I'm actually really pleased. Having worked out how to do it, that's not so bad. So there's a little bit of a gap to do there, but that's not the end of the world. And I can maybe even fill that out using terrain, but I'll come to that later. Because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start assembling the actual crane, which is a little bit fiddly, as you can see. So I'm just going to make a start on it and do it do it, a little bit at a time. So the first thing is you've got these side pieces, which are these, and I think, looking at it, that the relief goes on the outside, so the flat part goes to the middle. I think that's what that's telling me. So what you have is one of these, and then I'll lay it flat. So this is the near one here. So I'll lay it flat on this way round, and then start to assemble things like that. Plate this tube, these other tubes, or the metal pins that are actually on the sellotape to here. Not sellotape, but in that little baggie. So I'll start gluing things onto these, and then once I've got everything glued to this side, then I can place the other one on top. That's my plan anyway. Sorry, I'm getting tired. So with that yawn, I might not start that tonight. I might start it tomorrow. But yeah, I'm gonna. That's the next plan, to assemble the actual crane and decide if I'm going to filler this or if I'm just going to cover it with some lichen or some what have you. Anyway, not going as badly as I thought it was going to go. Pretty happy. Well, this is really coming on. You can see that I've got the wheels on. I've got the weapons points on. And pretty much all I've got to do now is the weapons and painting. And it's not a tail sitter. It's close. You can make it a tail sitter, but it's not, which is really cool because they didn't put enough weight in the nose like it told me to. They need a little bit more weight, but I obviously put just enough. So what I think I'm going to do is assemble the weapons, but do the painting before, because I don't want to have having to paint around them, and then I'll attach the weapons last. And also there's a couple of clear things that I've not put on yet. There's one here, and one on the tail there. So I'll put those on as well once I've finished doing the painting. And I'm going to paint it black. So let me show you the colour scheme I'm going for, because I'm pretty much there now, apart from doing the it says it's masking. It's got masking templates, so I might have to look for those because that'd be useful. But anyway, the colour scheme I'm going for is that bad boy. So yeah, pretty awesome looking. So I might start painting. It's just matte black. It's just not going to take long. So I might start painting that next, and then stick the transfers on, and then do the clear bits. The one on the top needs to be painted transparent orange, I believe, or transparent red. So yeah, onwards and upwards, I say. Onwards and upwards. I should get this done very soon now. Oh, I've finished painting up these 4 miniatures. I'm pretty happy with how they've turned out. After last week with not enjoying doing the zombies, it's been nice to do 4 good sculpts that all look really nicely and take the paints nicely. So what I need to do now is the basing. So we're using Luke's base ready stuff for that, and then I'll paint the rims and I'll bring you back when it's done and show what they look like when they're finished. And if you haven't yet voted this week, then what are you waiting for? Get your vote on. Go and get stuck in. Leave your comment below with which miniature you want me to paint out of the list this week. It really is very, very inspiring and motivating for me. And you could be in with a chance of winning a miniature if you do so. So yeah. Made some good progress putting this together, as you can see. I have realised that I took the nub off the top of that, which I needed, but it's not the end of the world. One issue I've got, which is I'm kind of letting it settle in my head before I resolve it, but this little thing here needs to fit in between here, but the hole that's drilled for it is too small for the nubs on the end, and I know that I didn't take that off by accident because this was not connected by those nubs to the sprue. So I need to just have a think about that before I do anything too crazy. This isn't glued together yet. It's got a little bit of glue in some of the bits, but most of it's not glued. It's just press fitted. So yeah, so I've got time to make my changes should I want to. So I can take it off and get a drill onto that if I want to, or I might just end up using a very sharp scalpel blade to kind of carve out a little bit of a larger hole. But yeah, it's going together really nicely. So the instructions aren't wonderful, but they're good enough. And my fear of putting this together is drifting away because yeah, it's coming together nicely. So hopefully I will get that finished today, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done, and then I'll prime it and paint it. And in the meantime, I'm going to need to get stuck into the rest of this build, which is gluing things to cardboard. And I'm not totally sure what glue to use because I want it to stick properly, but I don't want it to bleed through and curl and cause the things that wet PVA does. So I'm just having a bit of a think about that at the moment as to what glue I should use. I do have Yoo-hoo, like the Pritt stick type stuff, but I've found that can, like when it's over years, that dries out and it will separate, which is not what I want. So I'm having to think about it. So I mean, whether I get it done, whether I start this week or not, you'll find out from the vlog if you're watching this on the vlog. But if you've got any ideas about glue to use for that, so gluing paper to cardboard and what would be best, pop that as a comment below as well. I'd really appreciate it. Well, I started painting this just now, and then I realised that there were bits of it that weren't primed, so I had to stop. But yeah, I think this is going to look wicked. I'm really, really happy. So I've just, I've just painted primed the tips and here and underneath the back, and a little bit over where I did the joint, where I did the filler. So I'll wait for that to go off, and then I'll get back to painting it. Probably do 2 coats of black. And I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. But yeah, really, really happy. So I'm actually thinking about starting another build even now, even because I'm painting this, so I can start assembling one, because I pretty much assembled this. The only thing that's going to be left to do is, if I just rotate around here, you can see them over here. I have assembled the rocket pods. They will need to be painted, and then they can be stuck on as well, but they're just waiting for the glue to dry, and then I'll prime them. So yeah, so I'm thinking about starting my next project on my next Airfix build, and I think I know what it's going to be. It's one that has been on the channel, but only when I bought it. So it's one that Rosie is keen to see. So that's a good reason to do it, I think. Right, so this is the next model that I'm going to assemble and paint. And It is the McDonnell Douglas MD-120 flying crane. So I've picked this one out basically because I was talking to Rosie, and we were talking about helicopters, and this is the one helicopter that I have in my stash. I don't have any others, I don't think. Just looking at it, no, I don't have any other helicopters at all. So yeah, we were chatting about it, and she thought it was really cool, and so I thought, you know what, I'm going to do this one next. So we'll have a quick look at it. We'll get the sprues out. We'll decide how we're going to paint it, and how we're going to assemble it, and then get stuck in. Hopefully it won't be too difficult, but I always say that it's probably going to be very fiddly, but hopefully it won't be too much of a pain like some of the ones have been, and I can get through this nice and quickly, and it can be something cool to show Rosie very soon. Right, so I've opened up the pack and had a quick look through, and I think I understand what's going on. The first thing to say is it has photo etch, so that's going to be fun to watch, or maybe not watch, I might not film it. The other thing is there are two variants, and also you can make one which has like a pod which fits in, which is a bit strange. I'm not sure whether that's removable or not, but I'll have a look at that obviously as I'm building it. The instructions are in both English and Ukrainian, I think, which is interesting, and they look relatively okay. I think there's going to be some pre-assembly. Potentially there'll be some pre-assembly on the sprue, but I'm not sure. There's photo etch on this, which, as I say, does kind of freak me out a bit, but I think with how open it is, I'm going to need to do it because the cockpit is particularly open. So yeah, so I'm going to have a little bit of a think, but the first thing I'm going to need to do, as always, is give everything a good scrub. So I'll pop this into a bowl of hot soapy water, wash it with the toothbrush, and then let that air dry. And the reason I do that is that you get mold release agent, which is obviously designed to make sure nothing sticks to the plastic that you want to keep, and if you try to put paint on top of that mold release agent, it's just going to fall off. It's not going to work at all. So yeah, so I'll get that done, and while I'm doing that, I'll think about what version I'm going to do and how I'm going to do the painting. But I really do think it's going to end up being some on the sprue, some not. I'm going to be a little bit more careful about how I prime, a little bit more careful about where the paint gets so that it doesn't push things out of shape like it did on the previous build. So I'll bring you along. Once it's all ready and we're about to start doing the priming, I'll bring you along and show you how this goes. I'm quite excited to get this one built. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to do the army one, which is the B variant here. I'm pretty sure that's what I'm going to do. Right, so I had a delivery, which is pretty cool. So starting from the left, I picked this up. I'm going to take this with me next week when I go and see Rosie, because I think she will absolutely love to make that and probably keep it. And I also picked that up because I think Rosie will like to make that as well, but I probably won't take that with me. I'll probably only take this one. I also have had a chunk of the track that I ordered for actually all the track I ordered for the time saver layout, which is pretty awesome. So we've got some ST200s, which is just the normal straight, sorry, and this is the double length, so that just means you've got less soldering to do. And then, though I'm probably not going to end up using this now, but it'll still be useful going on. So this is now these two curves. So we've got a number 1 radius and number 2 radius. It's a nice shallow curves. And then finally, this was a bit of a kind of an impulse. This is a Rosie the welder, and I've not opened it yet. So this is me seeing it for the first time. That's a big box. Oh, it comes pre-painted. I didn't know that. There we are. Ooh, not very easy to get out, but there we are. We have a Rosie the welder, and of course, you know where I got that. So that can go on display, and that's pretty cool. So yeah, that was my little pack of deliveries that arrived today. Of course, I should have said Rosie the riveter, not Rosie the welder. Don't know where that came from, but anyway, there we are. Rosie the riveter. This is coming on really nicely. So that's 2 coats of black, matte black on it. A little bit of a touch up I need to do here. I've just noticed, I think I actually scraped that. But yeah, so there's the rockets, the rockets to go on. A couple of 3 clear plastic to glue on, and then the transfers, and also I need to repaint the wheels, paint the sides of the wheels should be red, the middles, and I also just need to touch up the actual tyres. But it's coming on really well, really happy with how that's looking. So I'll get the rockets done and finished, and then I'll start to apply the transfers, and they're going to look great. It's all these red ones that go on this with the black colour scheme. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how that looks when it's done. Well, that was bag 2, so now I'm on to bag 3. And what I've done as well as sorting out the bits for bag 3 is I've sorted out all the bags in the box and taken the lid off completely. So that'll be much easier for me now, because it was all mixed up, which is annoying. So I'm going to do another few minutes of Legoing this morning. So that was only about 5 minutes, and then that'll be me for the day. But it's coming on nicely. It's a really nice kit, this, really easy to put together. There was one part that was missing, but I worked out that there was almost certainly going to be a part that was going to be hidden, and it was hidden. You can't see it now. So I just pulled it out of my spare bits box and made up the bit, and that was okay. Well, it's not perfect. It's not finished actually. I still need to put the rocket pods on. But it's far from perfect, but I've got the transfers on. I did make a couple of mistakes, which I often do with transfers, and for some reason they wouldn't move after I put them on. I don't know why. For some reason I really struggled, but I'm really pleased with this. I think it looks absolutely lovely. I'm glad I went for the colour. I think what I probably should have done is put some varnish down before I put the transfers on. I think that's probably what I should have done. So I should have used my varnish, and I do actually have some proper Tamiya varnish, which I've never yet used, which I probably will once I've finished this. I'll probably make use of that and just varnish over the top. But yeah, really proud of myself for this. I think it looks great. It's probably the best model plane I've done for a long time, if ever, and I'm really excited now for the next one I'm starting. So yeah, so I've got the rocket pods painting. They're nearly done, and then I'll put them in place, and then I will come back and show you what that looks like, and then we'll varnish it, and that's those two, the first two from the Vietnam display done. And then I'm going to crack on with the helicopter, which in the vlog I've already shown you about. So yeah, excited for that as well. I really don't know how well this is going to film, but I'm going to do my best. So what we have is we have this little, very tiny wire, and the instructions say bend it around a pin. So I have a pin here, and I've done one and it worked. So let me see if I can do another. So what I did was I started it off just with the tweezers, the pliers even, and then started off a little bit more further around. I actually did it too small on the other one, and then with it's really hard work. It's really hard work, and it's going to be really annoying probably to film, and I'm probably getting my hands in the way and everything. And I do have my goggles on. How did I do this? I think I held that with those two fingers and then pulled this, maybe not. Ah, there we are, we're getting there. Yeah, this was not very much fun doing it when I wasn't filming it. And it's not very much fun doing it now I am filming, I can tell you. So what the instructions say is to bend it around the pin, but I found that incredibly difficult to do. So I got the tweezers, and what I've found is it's difficult because it keeps twisting in my hand. I've got enough of a hook now for it to work, maybe. I'm starting to get somewhere now. There we are. There we are. How about that? I don't know how much of that got caught, but once it was kind of in the right place, that was alright. So if I now get the bit of plastic that this attaches to, And you can see here, actually you can't see there, it's not on the screen, you can see there that the metal is already on this side. So this one is going to go on the other side. So we'll peel it off that. And I'm doing it so that the loop is on the underside. That went on very nicely. And then what I'm going to do is just use my tweezers to make sure it stays on. Now I'm not entirely sure how well that will have filmed, but we now have the two metal bits in, and the reason I'm doing that is it actually is kind of going to define what angle this goes at in the base piece. It's been quite a juggling act to get this to work right, but I think I'm not far off now. So that's not on enough. I have to push it on a little bit more. There we are. And what I'll probably do is once this is on, then I'll probably put a little bit of super glue, dab a little bit of super glue on just so they don't pop off. But yeah, there we are. It's coming on. It's fiddly as anything, but it's coming on. Well, I had another little delivery today. These are, well, you can see, DCC Concept iLink Power Bus T connectors. So the idea is you can do this without using solder. So it says, while we really do prefer soldering, we also understand it can be a challenge for modelers. And so I ordered these to use on Rosie's model railway. But I thought that I was going to be able to, like, I didn't realise it was actually 3 separate strands. So what this is going to mean, I'm going to use them, I think, but what this is going to mean is I'm going to have the dropper coming down, and then I'm going to have the bus wire, the positive and negative bus wires are going to be separate strands between each point, between each dropper, which isn't ideal. One of the reasons is every connection does actually obviously has some resistance, but it probably is going to be okay because it's not a massively long run, so I'll give it a go. But I have to wait for one more thing to arrive, which is my actual bus wire, so that should be coming soon. So yeah, so I'll be making use of these on Rosie's model railway, and I will obviously film when I get to that and when I do it. But yeah, they're basically just clip junctions, which will mean I won't have to go underneath the layout and try and solder above my head, which is the main reason I did it. Well, would you look at that? I'm quite pleased with how this is coming on. So what I'm left to do is a wheel on the front and some cogs and what have you on the back, and then the actual hook and string which will tie in and wrap around the axle at the bottom. So yeah, it's that was a really good way of doing it. What I did was I attached these, then I put a little bit of glue just so that I could hold it on one side, and then put the super glue in to glue the wires underneath this top platform here, and then put the side on so that it was all held together and all one piece, and it's worked out really well. I think it's I'm amazed at myself for having done it. When I looked at the instructions, I thought I'm going to really make a mess of this, but I haven't. So yeah, probably tomorrow I will finish off gluing on those last few bits and pieces. So yeah, just a couple of wheels and a brake and a few cogs, and then I'll start painting it. So once it's all assembled, I'll show what it looks like, and then we'll get it primed and get it painted. Actually, funny enough, I was watching a video today, a video of model railways, and on one of the model railways was one of these, which was pretty cool to see. So it was nice to see someone else has used this. So anyway, onwards and upwards, happy with this. I do like Pico stuff. I have found it always to be good. Even things that look really complicated and hard go together really nicely, like really solid, positive click. So you don't even have to use glue, really. A lot of this would have assembled without glue, I think. But I have used glue, obviously. Well, there we are. I've finished. I've done my 4 miniatures. So pretty pleased with that. Thank you to everyone that gets involved with this. It really does make a massive difference. I know I say this really often, but it's true. It's made a big difference in terms of motivating and inspiring me to keep going and to keep hobbying and give me something to do. And pretty happy with the result I've got this week. So if you haven't yet voted for next week's, jump down into the comments, leave which 2 miniatures you want me to paint from the list that's in the description or is displayed on screen at the beginning and end of every vlog. And I'll be really happy to see your name, particularly if you're a new person and particularly if you're a regular, because I love seeing new names and I really love seeing the same people coming back. It's really cool to have a little community growing here. So yeah, I will put the video on an average painter for each of these miniatures on Monday, so you can check out how I went about painting them if you're interested. Go on over there and check that out. Well, this is really coming on now, so you can see the shape has really developed. I did a longer session then because I didn't want to do a half session next time. I think that probably what I'm learning is each bag is about 12 minutes. So doing 8 minutes a day means I'm doing 1.5 bags. Sorry, 1.5 days per bag. So I just did a longer one. And because hey, it's mine, I can do what I want. So I think, looking like it, we're going to be doing the tailplane and the engines next, and then this will be the Enterprise finished, and then I'll be starting on the plane, which is very exciting. Of course, in a few days I head off to go and see Rosie, which is also very exciting. So I don't know how much of the plane I'll get to, and then when I get back I should have the part for the Millennium Falcon. So the question is whether I start the plane or not. But I think I will. I think I'll get this finished and then go back to the Falcon, just because, hey. But let me know. Actually, it'll be too late. I'll have decided by the time you see this. I was going to say, well, let me know in the comments below whether you want me to or not. And then you'll see very shortly whether I do or not. Well, I thought this was going really well. What it's turned out, I've just realised, is that this, drum, that bit there which is loose now, is actually not symmetrical. So yeah, I put it in backwards because, of course, if there's the wrong way to do something and there's only 2 ways to do it, you'll always pick the wrong way. So I've managed to separate everything apart because I didn't glue it. Thankfully, I hadn't glued the other side on yet because I wasn't finished, and I'm going to be able to swap it. And that's because that wheel only fits on one end, and the other end is actually longer, and so it will it doesn't stick out as far for the wheel. So then the drum brake then will actually go into place. So I've been able to save it. I've pulled it apart very, very gently. I'll swap the drum around, put it back together, and as I say, the last thing I'll do is before anything is glue that last side on, just put some dabs of glue in to hold it. So there's a little tip if you're building this, watch out for that. The drum or the axle or whatever you want to call it, the thing the rope winds around, is not symmetrical. It does only go in one way. Well, you can always speak too soon. I've saved it. I've managed to get that done. But as I was doing it, this little, if it's going to focus, come on. This little piece here, well, it's not focusing. It's going to focus in a minute, don't worry. There we are. So the other side of the drum, the little peg that comes through this side, as I was attempting to push it through, it snapped off completely. Fortunately, I was able to fit everything back together and then get some glue and then stick it back in place, in the correct place, and I'm now stepping away from it for like an hour or two before I try to put the brake on, and then before I try and put the rest of the cogs on. But yeah, that was a bit of a mess. So if you're building this, be very, very careful that you put that the right way around, because it's not very easy to repair. Well, there we are. It's done. I'm really pleased with it. The transfers on this side are in slightly the wrong place because I made a mistake as I was putting them on, because normally you can move them around on the model, and so I put them in place and then tried to shove them and they didn't move, which was a nightmare. But that doesn't matter. I'll forget about that pretty quickly, and basically I'm pretty happy with how it looks. So I have said I'm gonna varnish it, so I'll get some varnish on it, but that for me is done and dusted. I'm really pleased. Probably, as I said in a previous clip, probably my favourite that I've done, my best model yet, which is nice. It's nice when you feel like you're improving slightly. I also really like the colour scheme. The black and the red just looks cool. So yeah, awesome. I hope you've enjoyed that, and yeah, I certainly have. I've really enjoyed it. I'm really glad that it's not a tail sitter as well, because I didn't put enough weight in the front, and it's quite finely balanced, but it just about stays standing upright, unlike the other one, which is really annoying. Well, that's done. I've been staring at it, wondering whether I was going to put a wash on it, but I actually quite like the washed out look of the wood and the paler colour of the roof. So yeah, pretty happy with that. So we've got our ladder. I'm having that roof still be able to be removed. I've glued the wheel in place, and obviously this is removable. So I think I'm happy enough with that. I'm not going to go any further. That's going to look really good on the tabletop, and hopefully I'll be able to get a game with it at some point, who knows. So I'll get yeah, another project ticked off the list, which is always nice. It's a really cool bit of kit. So yeah, it's from Renedra. I had completely forgotten, and it had been 2 years almost to the day since I touched it last, when I picked this back up a couple of weeks ago. So there we are. I don't know how well this is going to film, but if you have a look at the shape of this central cog and the hole in the middle of it, you'll see it's square. And that cog is supposed to go on this end, the nub which I broke off, which is round. And the shape of the nub on the other end, which was this way and is now the other way and is now glued into another thing, was square. So I think that all of that pain I went through swapping it around was actually incorrect, that it should have been square to this end, and I was right originally. And all that happened was the hole in the piece that went on the other end was just not big enough to accept the shaft that was supposed to go into it. So I've really screwed the pooch. And there's not much I can do about it now. So what I'm going to need to do is mount the large cog and the small cog, because they both go onto those metal pins, get them in place and glued, and then trim down that nub there, which I painstakingly glued back on, potentially remove it completely and just glue this small cog in place correctly to match up to the large cog. Because if you look at the picture, you'll see that's how it works. So yeah, I don't know, confused a little bit. It's not going to break the model, it's not going to cause a problem. It has meant that I no longer have moving, I'm no longer able to have it moving, but actually looking at it, I don't think I probably would be able to have it moving anyway. So it's probably it's probably not going to be able to be like wind it in and out. But I think if you did this right, you probably can, if you avoid doing as much glue as possible. So I might end up buying another one of these and see if I can do it right, and see if it can actually like be wound in and out, which might be a bit of fun. But for the time being, still very happy with how this is going. I still haven't fitted the brake in, as you can see, and I'm still waiting for it to go off. I've just realised by looking more closely that I think that my previous panicked, oh my goodness, I did it wrong. No, I've done it right, and now I've done it wrong. But anyway, whatever. It's just fun, isn't it? Well, I've had my builder here for a little bit, and some of the weather hasn't been very great. He's been trying to work outside in the garden, so I have pulled a task forwards that wasn't going to be done for probably a year or two. I obviously don't need these two windows because I'm going to have the model railway, I have the layout coming, and almost certainly will be going up against the wall. But even if it doesn't, even if I have a walkway going down that side, I still don't want the sun coming in and absolutely destroying my layout with how strong the sun is. So I've had him just board it up. It's not finished. As I say, this is a task that I wasn't planning on doing. Eventually we'll plaster that and then it can be painted to be a backdrop or whatever. And I have left it so that the sun comes in at the top, so we still have a bit of light coming in, and I do still have a big window here as well. But yeah, it's just going to make it a lot less likely to get damaged in the sun. So I'm really pleased with that. It's just not taken very long, and it's made a big difference. Oh, it's a big thing to have done, which I will need when I do pull the layout through into here, through the holes in the walls that you can see here, and poking away there through behind the lumber. So yeah, pretty cool. Well, I've just done my first, or I'm in progress with the first bit of the photo etch. They really do hit you right at the beginning. Actually, the very first instruction includes photo etch. So I've assembled the chair, and as you can see, I've started putting the straps on. I'm doing it steadily, so I've basically attached each strap to the outside bit, and then when that's gone off, done that with some super glue. When that's gone off, then I'll come in and I will bend it into shape and drop some bits and bobs of super glue on just to hold it in place. And don't want to speak too soon, but it's going all right. It's going all right. So while that's happening, I've also jumped onto the next step. This was particularly frustrating. So if I move over to the instructions, this bit was all right. I put that together and then put a heavy weight on it and left it, and it dried fine. Putting these bits on the underneath was incredibly annoying. I used a toothpick and I ended up doing it in stages as well. Patience is definitely a virtue, and you need it when you're doing these modelling things. So to do it, I actually put the top one on this one here first, and I got that set in place and a little bit set, and then I glued the joining bit, waited a minute or two for that to go, and then just slowly but surely edged it in, because it was almost impossible to not push it too far and then have it go right the way down and in, which would have been annoying. But anyway, I managed it. Just a little bit of patience, a little bit of dry fitting, working it out, so trying it before you put glue on it and realising, hang on a minute, this is going to be annoying. There's been a lot of flash, a lot of stuff to clean up, so that's another thing about it which is a bit frustrating. I've had to tidy a lot of overspill from the mould. I don't think this is the greatest of moulds, but yeah, it's doing all right. So my plan is to assemble parts 1, 2 and 3, and then I can paint that, and probably paint that in its entirety, and then what I'll probably do is look at step 4, which has some decals and some other photo etch, so do that. So I'm going to basically work in steps, not painting on the sprue as you can see, but painting the sub-assemblies. So that's my idea. So I'll be reading ahead, making plans as to which are sub-assemblies to paint. Some of this I might paint on the sprue, like part 5. The step 5 might work, step 7 might work to paint on the sprue, but I'm not sure. I'll obviously explain, because I'll explain what I do, what I decide. But certainly this first step 1, 2 and 3 I'm doing as a sub-assembly, and I'll prime it and paint it when it's all done, which will not be very long, because it literally just needs me to finish off the photo etch. So it's cool to be getting stuck into this. I'm very excited to see how it looks, and it's good to be starting another model, and if I can get some speed up on this, do a little bit every day, then maybe I can even get this done and get cracking onto another one and really start to get through my backlog. My stash is quite substantial up there as well. Yeah, and I've got some things that are just going to be beyond me, like that B29. I've no idea when I'm going to get to the B29, but yeah, I've got it. Anyway, onwards and upwards. Doing a much smaller model now. So yeah, hopefully I'll get this done, and I'll bring you along for the next step and let you know what I decide in terms of painting up the other sub-assemblies and what have you. Well, I made some good progress on the MD120. The photo etch is not acting too terribly for me, which is nice. So you can see there, you can see that I've primed those because they need to be painted black. I've stuck together the bits that I painted the other day. They need a little bit more paint on them. Oh, it's not focusing right, so I'm not looking through the viewfinder. Yeah, so they need to be touched up with the paint. And then what I've done is I've started working on that bit there. So I've assembled and glued those on. So actually, if we come over here, I have pretty much finished the first page. The only thing left to do is stick the photo etch on over the top of the of the transfers, and I'm just looking, where did I put it? I thought I brought it over here. If I've done something stupid, yes I have, I've put this down on top of it. Right, professional YouTuber me. Just get that right, so you can see, if it will focus, that I have put the transfers on that. So I'm just waiting right now for the, I'm going to paint the photo etch, and then I can glue that on top, and then that bit will be finished. But apart from that, I think everything else that's on here, apart from painting. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just about to go and paint this part here, which is glued on, and then I'll probably also paint the seat, which I've primed. So yeah, and then we come to assembling it all, which is pretty cool. I think this is going to go together quite quickly, to be honest. Not sure whether I'm going to do the, actually I'm not going to do that. That is not something I need to do, because that's the bit that kind of goes in here if you want to do. So I might make it, but I'll probably just keep it to one side and see if I can have it as an optional extra. I have just noticed that I might have made a mistake. Let me take a second. Yes, it is ×3. So actually, this bit here, I've only done one of them, which is this. So I'm going to need to assemble and put together 2 more of those. I missed the ×3 thing. So yeah, onwards and upwards. Enjoying this a lot, and really excited to get it finished and crack on. It's really nice to have yeah, I just feel like I'm doing all right with it. I'm sure that I'll make lots of mistakes going forwards, but at the moment I'm feeling pretty good. I am, as I said, I am going to do the American one, the Army one, which means that some of the paint colours that it's telling me to do are not right, which is quite fun. But anyway. Right, I'm on to the last bit of this now, which is putting the thread on. Now, this is where I'm going to suffer, because I'm not going to be able to wind the thread, because yeah, I'm going to need to sit. It's going to take me some time. I'm probably going to put some music on and just chill. I'm going to need to sit with tweezers and kind of feed it through and pull it and feed it through and pull it and feed it through and pull it over and over and over until I get it up long enough to go over the top and then down. And then the last thing will be gluing on the hook, which is there. Anyway, it's gone well together. It's gone together well even, and we'll be onto the painting bench soon. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. So I'm pretty excited to get this wound up and then get onto the painting. Very cool. Right, so I'm down underneath Rosie's model railway, and I have these clip things, and I've realised that I probably haven't ordered enough, so I'm probably going to need to order some more, which isn't the worst thing in the world, because I can't do anything until the rest of my cable arrives. But the idea is they attach to these droppers. They should attach to these droppers like this. So I should be able to put that in and then press that in, and that should attach, and it's not. Or is it the other way around? Is it you put it in and lift it up? It is. There we are. See, I'm learning, I think. You are watching me having not practiced this, because I thought it was obvious. There we are, you pull it up. So if you can see that. So the idea is you do that. Now I know what I'm doing, that's relatively simple. You get an orange and a blue, which means blue is going to be at the back. And I'm going to go around each of these like that, and then what will happen is I'll get a length that will go between them. And the good thing is with these is I won't need to solder that, so I need length to go there and a length to go there and a length to go here and what have you. But I'm going to count now and make sure and prove to myself that I've not got enough, and then I'm going to put an order in for what I think will be enough. But if that will focus in, that would be awesome. I've not got the camera pointed quite in the right direction, so I will quickly adjust the camera for you so you can see what that looks like. There we are. So these are clicked out, and that's how that secures it. So there we are. So I'm going to do a count. We'll find out how many droppers I've got and find out I need to order like 6 more packs and then get those ordered. Yeah, so I've got a total of 25 more droppers to do, and with 5 in a pack, I've got 2 packs. So that means I have, and I'm going to want some spares just in case, so I'm going to need to order 3 more packs. So I'll get those ordered, get that all done underneath, and then probably the wire that's going to go between will also appear roughly the same time as the extra packs, and then I'll be able to actually get this running. So once I've finished doing this wiring, the next thing to do is going to be a really good clean on the layout, make sure that it works, and then once I've done that, if it does, I'll do a little bit of reballasting, because you can see that, because I did this as a afterthought, you can see that the droppers are visible. So yeah, I will give a good clean and then potentially do a reballast. But hopefully this will run really nicely, so that by July, when Rosie's here next, we can run the track round, because she was talking about it. And of course I've wanted to for ages anyway as well. So yeah, looking forward to getting this going again. Well, it's quite a long time since I've been over an hour this significantly, if at all, actually, in the weekly vlog. So that just tells you how this week's been. It's been awesome, and there's been some awesome projects, finishing some old ones, finishing some new ones, and starting some new ones. So yeah, and I haven't said for a while, but if you've made it this far, please do let me know in the comments below if you are a completionist and you get to the end. I would love to know that at least one person watched it through to the end. Who knows? I don't know if anyone will. It'd be interesting to see. So this went from about 2 hours and 20 minutes of footage before recording this outro down to about 1 hour and 15. So that's how much I sped up with the shuttle aircraft. And interestingly enough, if you care, basically I do that shuttle, I do my Lego at the beginning of every day. So that gives you an idea of what I do kind of day to day. The Lego is the start of a new day. Anyway, enough rambling. This certainly has been a long enough video. I will pop very quickly on the screen now the list of miniatures. If you haven't voted yet and you've made it this far, I'm amazed. But those are the options you've got. So yeah, you can put your vote below with your comments. 2 miniatures, don't forget. And yeah, and I'll wrap it up here by saying, as I always do, thank you ever so much for watching. And to everyone, please do stay healthy, stay safe, and stay well.